And so I say to America, I want you to remember our past. This past will give you direction for the future. Just as our people in our past, we are the spirit of the future. The spirit of this land lies rooted in the history of Native people. The massacres that happened to us, the army that came, took our land and killed our people, did not destroy our vision.
The vision of Dennis Banks, the shadow of a warrior whose voice is to protect the traditional ways of the American Indian people. A teacher, lecturer, activist, and author, was here at Grand Valley State University's Great Lakes History Conference 2009, a conversation with Dennis Banks.
I felt that the government would never understand Native people, and I don't care what program they develop in Washington, it'll always be wrong. They've never learned how to have input with Native people, real dialogue on how a program should operate or develop. Instead, they sit there in Washington, D.C. and they develop these programs. The cluster homes on reservations, they're all in shambles now. But if you have a home way out in the district, it's just nice and clean and it's all that. But cluster homes, they didn't understand that. I mean, how it breeds violence and it's incestuous and just it's a bad setting. You know, they wanted to save money because then they could run one sewer out there, one water line out there, and so it wouldn't have to run water lines all over the reservation and stuff. So it was bad. So
there is one dark day in the lives of Indian children, the day when they are forcibly taken away from those who love and care for them, from those who speak their language. They are dragged, some screaming and weeping, others in silent terror, to a boarding school where they are to be remade into white kids.
Through the agencies of the government, they are being rapidly brought from their state of comparative savagery and barbarism to one of civilization.
I feel that the government was at fault in destroying that really love relationship that parents have with their children. And they came in and disrupted it and destroyed it. And but the story of my life is the story of 100,000 young students at that time. And now they have children, and they have grandchildren. So the pain, is just. It was a terrible experiment. It was a social experiment, but it was the toll was it failed in the end. I mean, I say it failed because we're still surviving, and the songs that they beat us for singing, they're still being sung right now. And my real mother, who I loved dearly, I never received any messages from her in the entire process of the 11 years that I was in the boarding schools. And during mail call, they'd call out your name, and at first I was anxious and I was listening to it, but whenever my name was never called for mail, then after about 2 or 3 months of that, and when mail call was called, I went over here because there was just no sense of me going through this. When I finally did get home, I asked my mother, "But why didn't you come after me?" What? She said, "I tried to." I said, "But you didn't." And she said, "I tried." And this is the part that just breaks me up all the time. And so I let it go. I didn't carry the debate any further with her and I. And then I went off to the military 8 years in the military, and she died in 1961. And you have to figure almost 40 some years, 50 years have gone by. And only last October, I was on the internet and it says, I was Googling, and it says one of Google military. So I went to the military, found my old squadron in there, all the guys that then on the bar it says, you want to find high school friends? So I brought that up, and I entered the years that I was at Pipestone, and it brought, everybody, all the names of all the boys and girls that I went to school with in the military, or in boarding school. And then it says, you want your files? And so where to go for your files? Your records, school records. He says, there's letters in there. And there's the letters from your mother. I said, holy Christ.
Letters, they checked out the letters. Letters dated 4 something, 1945, 1946, 1947. There were letters in each year she was writing. Inquiring, not only inquiring, but one time she sent money to the government. It was like $6 for bus fare home or something like that. And she wanted to know when could she come pick me up? When could they pick me up? When could I be sent home? But none of those letters ever. They never called my attention to.
And when I was reading those letters, I just busted out. I just couldn't deal with it. I just started crying. And I took the letters and went to the graveyard, and just got on my knees and was hugging the grave. And I felt bad because how I felt all those years when I was thinking about my mother. And all along she did love me. So.
These stories and this history that shapes us of why what we do today is not told in our history books. It's not told in current world affairs the way that it should be. And that's one thing that I myself and many others, the reason why we do what we do has been helped and shaped by leaders such as Dennis and what you have done and what you continue to do today at 75 years of age, not only here in North America but throughout the world.